be about the past form of the verb to be. We will talk about how do we form statements, negative sentences, and how do we create questions with the help of was or were. Before we talk about the formation, let's look at our 3 sentences here, and let's pinpoint one very important detail about this grammar notion. So the first sentence is, Stacy was at school yesterday. So we have Stacy was. Mark and Sophia were sick last week. Mark and Sophia were. And my friends were in New York last month. The very important thing about was or were is to remember that these 2 verbs are only followed by a noun or an adjective. These words cannot be followed by another verb. Sometimes the students make a mistake and they say, for example, Stacy was worked yesterday. We don't say like that. You cannot have a verb. That's incorrect. You can only use a noun or an adjective after those verbs. So in the first example, Stacy was at school. So at school, that's a noun. The next example, Mark and Sophia were sick. So sick is a form of an adjective. And in our last sentence, my friends were in New York last month. Again, in New York, that's a noun. So please remember again, was, were, plus a noun or an adjective. And right now we will discuss the formation of the statements. So let's check how do we form our statements. It all depends on what kind of pronoun you are using. If you are using I, he, she, or it, we will use the form was. I was, he was, she was, it was. I was in class yesterday. He was on vacation last summer. She was very angry yesterday. It was windy last week. However, when you are using the pronouns you, we, or they, then you are going to use the form were. You were absent 2 days ago. We were at home last night. They were tired after the class. If you want to create a negative form, we would just add the negative particle not to either was or were. So was plus not. Or in other words, we can just say wasn't. That's the short form. The same works for the form were. Were plus not. Or you can say weren't. Weren't. I wasn't in class yesterday. She wasn't very angry yesterday. You weren't absent 2 days ago. They weren't tired after the class. And whenever you want to form the question, in this case, this part was or were will move to the front. So for example, was moves here, we put was in the front. Was I in class yesterday? That's a question. Was he on vacation last summer? Was she very angry yesterday? Was it windy last week? The same applies to were. Were moves to the front, and we'll put were here. Were you absent 2 days ago? Were we at home last night? Were they tired after the class? And finally, let's take a look, how do we answer with the short form or questions that we create with the help of was or were. So, was I in class yesterday? And we will put a question mark, and the answer is yes, I was, or no, I wasn't. Was he on vacation last summer? Yes, he was. No, he wasn't. Was she very angry yesterday? Yes, she was. No, she wasn't. Was it windy last week? Yes, it was. No, it wasn't. Were you absent 2 days ago? Yes, I was. No, I wasn't. Were we at home last night? Question mark. Yes, we were. No, we weren't. Were they tired after the class? Yes, they were. No, they weren't. So that's the end of our lesson. Thank you so much, dear friends, for staying with us. Please don't forget to subscribe in order to get notification about our future lessons. And see you next time. Bye-bye.